Good evening, honorable parliamentarians, distinguished delegates, ambassadors, UNHCR, strategic partners, ladies and gentlemen. May I take this opportunity to welcome you to the third session of our very important discussion on the global impact on refugees. I am fully aware, as a fellow legislator, on our tolerance levels as MPs when it gets to this time of the evening. So this session is going to be extremely short, but a very important session nevertheless. My names are Janet Ongera. I am the chairperson of the East Africa Region Caucus in the Pan-African Parliament and a member of that delegation from the Republic of Kenya. Let me take this opportunity to read out the session discussion. We are going to look at the African Union and UNHCR Project 2019, and particularly to look at the sharing of best practices. That is why I say that this session is very important. As parliamentarians from around the world, we want to share, each one of us, the experiences from our national legislations. May I now therefore take this opportunity to welcome our discussant speaker, Mr. Cosmas Chanda, who is the representative of UNHCR Regional Office to the African AU in Ethiopia. Mr. Cosmas, you are welcome to this session.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor and a great pleasure for me to provide this August meeting of the joint IPU-PAP Parliamentary Conference on Refugees, an update on the implementation of various activities with the African Union Commission and its partners, that includes UNHCR, that we have carried out this year to realize the objectives of the African Union theme for 2019, which is on refugees, returnees, internally displaced persons, towards durable solutions for forced displacement in Africa. In line with the decisions of the policy organs of the African Union, overarching policies of the African Union, including Agenda 2063, and based on the guidance of both the STC and the PRC subcommittees on refugees, IDPs, the AU Commission has actively worked with member states, regional economic communities, other AU organs, and partners to implement a number of activities. These activities are being implemented based on a roadmap that has been deliberated upon and endorsed by the AU member states. The Commission has collaborated closely with other organs and departments of the African Union in this endeavor. Our work has also been supported at the highest level through the leadership of the Equatorial Guinea President, His Excellency Teodoro Nguema Basongo, who is the champion of the AU theme. UNHCR underscores that all partners of the Commission immensely benefited from his wise counsel and active engagement. UNHCR is also grateful for the active engagement and participation of all policy organs of the AU, including the Pan-African Parliament and partners, who have played a central role in supporting the establishment and the running of a dedicated secretariat to coordinate and implement activities of the theme of the year. Our activities have been guided by the principles of inclusion. In this context, nothing has been as important, as gratifying as the involvement and participation of refugees and internally displaced persons themselves in all the activities. All activities were supported by a media outreach and strategy. Chairperson, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, from the outset, the priorities and activities of all stakeholders regarding the AU theme of the year 2019 has been guided by the outcome of a high-level consultation that focused on the topic of addressing root causes to forced displacement and achieving solutions. At the margins of the 22nd Ordinary Session of the AU Assembly in February 2019 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, the Commission organized a high-level dialogue. The meeting brought together the chairperson of the AU, several principals of key partners, and the AU Youth Envoy for a high-level consultation on the AU theme of the year. This important dialogue was complemented with a roundtable on durable solution and root causes, organized in partnership with the Commission and other partners. The latter brought together a much wider array of participants, including member states, UN agencies, NGOs, academia, media, and representatives of refugees. The conclusions and findings of the aforementioned high-level meetings contributed to the implementation of other important activities which have been organized between January and November 2019. Chairperson, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, one of the main highlights of the AU 2019 theme of the year is the commemoration of the 50th and the 10th anniversaries of the 1969 OAU Refugee Convention and the Kampala Convention, respectively. These two pioneering regional legal instruments are bedrocks of African framework for the protection of the displaced and supporting solution strategies. It is recalled that heads of state and government of the AU have called on member states to sign, ratify, and implement the two conventions as a matter of urgency. UNHCR applauds and congratulates South Sudan and Equatorial Guinea for heeding this call and for ratifying the Kampala Convention during this important year. This important achievement has indeed been as a result of collective and effective advocacy efforts. UNHCR is working tirelessly to ensure that member states who have not ratified the conventions do so and take concrete action to implement the convention. We underscore the important role that will be played by the members of Parliament. In June 2019, UNHCR, in collaboration with the Commission, organized in Addis Ababa a continental consultative meeting on the implementation and supervision of the 1969 OAU Refugee Convention. This important consultation, which involved several member states, partners, and refugees themselves, was graced by the presence and participations of the presidents of Equatorial Guinea and Ethiopia. The visit by the champion to a refugee camp in Asosa, regional state in Ethiopia, brought hope and solidarity with refugees. The Commission applauds the decision by the champion to support the opening of a school in the camp. We are working with the government of Ethiopia and UNHCR to implement this decision. Allow me, Chairperson, to also underline the concrete outcome that has emerged from a dialogue with refugee women who went to Ethiopia to voice their views and share their priorities and interests. The outcome of this dialogue has been shared widely with member states, UNHCR, and other partners and the Commission. As I've already underlined, this is indeed a clear indication of our approach to promote inclusion of refugees and displaced persons in our activities. Madam Chairperson, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the various events and consultations, Member States have underscored the importance of capacity building initiatives in ensuring the implementation of the AU legal and policy frameworks. UNHCR has indeed taken active steps to work with other Member States in enhancing and strengthening the capacity of Member States. For instance, it has continued to implement its widely admired training program on AU humanitarian law and policy, which regularly takes place in Livingstone, Zambia. Already more than 500 civil servants have been trained in this program. It is also my pleasure to report to the UNHCR, working with Pan-African Parliament, has undertaken an awareness and sensitization program targeting members. Towards this end, the Commission co-organized a training seminar as part of the special segment of the 5th PAP Ordinary Session, focusing on the theme of the year in May 2019 in these very premises. The meeting helped to mobilize the role of parliamentarian action and solidarity. Moreover, the Pan-African Parliament adopted recommendations and resolutions outlining key areas of action by members of PAP and other stakeholders in relation to the theme of the year. UNHCR also signed an important MOU with PAP, which will guide our work. Madam Chairperson, this year also witnessed a number of global high-level events, such as a TICAD 7, Africa Dialogue Series in New York, and UNHCR Executive Committee session in Geneva, in which UNHCR and other partners working with the Commission actively participated with a view to promoting the objectives of the AU theme of the year and call for global solidarity and partnership. African Union member states host significant numbers of refugees and displaced persons, shouldering exemplary solidarity with the most vulnerable. I would like to mention Niger and Rwanda for their stellar leadership and solidarity with stranded refugees in Libya. In order to solicit international support and burden sharing, arrangements in support of AU member states, the Commission, in collaboration with the Africa Humanitarian Action and UNHCR, organized an important and highly successful continental consultative meeting on responsibility sharing and solidarity in Kigali, Rwanda, on the 24th and 25th of October this year. We are grateful for the government and people of Rwanda for hosting this meeting. Madam Chairperson, in the coming weeks, UNHCR will work with the Commission, member states and partners to implement remaining activities, including organizing a high-level panel on the AU theme of the year. 2 major consultative meetings on the Kampala Convention is scheduled to take place in Kampala, Uganda, in the first week of December, and another consultative meeting on mixed migration and the annual humanitarian symposium are scheduled to take place in Nairobi in 2 weeks' time. Madam Chairperson, one of the most frequently asked questions is, if the 1969 convention was to be written today, would there be new contents or some things be removed? To answer to this question, I'm pleased to share with you that 9 African scholars have been put together to look critically at the 1969 convention. They are going to provide us with legal analysis of how the convention may have looked if it was drafted today. This will be compiled in a book that will be published in the course of 2020. I'm also glad to report that a video comprising speeches of some of the old statesmen and women of the continent has already been compiled and awaits commissioning. It includes videos of veterans like former President Kaunda of Zambia, former President Sam Nujoma of Namibia, the former Secretary General of the African Union. And once this is approved, it will be shared with all member states. Madam Chairperson, this ends my update on the implementation of activities of Project 2019, and I thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Cosmas. I think we need to give him a round of applause. Thank you. Indeed, you have outlined very exhaustively the activities that UNHCR is doing on Project 2019 in line with the AU's theme of the Year of Refugees. Honorable members, I now open this session for plenary discussion. I'm ready to take in comments, observations, and also best practices. Any questions, any clarifications? It seems that everything was very well understood. Cosmas, perhaps I have one question to ask while we wait for any clarification, and that is the issue of the emerging refugees issues. You mentioned that you are updating the convention in relation to how it would look because of new emerging issues in our continent. Perhaps you needed to elaborate just a little bit. What exactly are these eminent persons doing? Is there any other question, any clarification? I think that would be all. Over to you, Cosmas.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. What we have done in the first instance is we approached a renowned African scholar who has helped with drafting quite a number of constitutions on the continent, not excluding the new Kenyan constitution. This is Professor Bayani Chaloka of the London School of Economics. And through him, he managed to mobilize 8 other scholars from the continent. The intention, Madam Chairperson, is not to revise the 1969 convention, but to come up with additional information which will inform members of parliament that in the future, should it be necessary to revise, what are some key issues, some key areas that members of parliament will be looking at. It may be possible that in the future, probably an annex or addendum to the 1969 could be required, so that some of the emerging issues that Your Excellencies have attributed to could be captured in that amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Cosmas. And with that, honorable members, we now come to the end of the third session and also the end of today's conference. We shall meet again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. But before that, I have some very good news. We have a cocktail hosted in honor of all the participants just outside the plenary. You will see where they have set up.
Tables exactly on the left.
Sorry? Yeah. To the left. As we get out to the left, you'll see the setting up in your honor. This is a time for us to enjoy, bond, and collaborate. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Merci beaucoup, obrigada, asante, shukran.